screw it. I want to make another deck based on my love of Yu-Gi-Oh!
Face up, face down, attack or defend.
I'm sincerely hoping that I don't get copyright hit for the song that's playing right now, but I really had to, because one of my favorite aspects of Yu-Gi-Oh! That is missing from Magic the Gathering is the trap card. I love being able to put a card face down and give my opponent racking anxiety as to whether or not it is something they have to be worried about, or if I've just put, like, a Mystical Space Typhoon down for another player to not understand that it doesn't negate when I cast it. I love Yu-Gi-Oh! I adore the ability to do stuff like that. Unfortunately, the game's power creep has basically kept me out of it, but we do have some commanders in Magic the Gathering that allow us to relive those glory days a little bit. I talked about Jasmine yesterday, and today we're going to talk about the king of trap cards, Kadena. Oh, that's not how it's supposed to be. There we go. Kadena Slinking Sorcerer is a Sultai and 1/3/3 creature that says the first face-down creature spell we cast costs 3 less to cast, which is great because casting creatures face-down only costs 3. Whenever a face-down creature enters the battlefield under our control, we get to draw a card. So this is a draw engine that is also dropping the cost of morphing our creatures by 3. Now, this was the face of a very abysmal precon, but we have received multiple precons and multiple sets with support for face-down mechanics since then. So let's see what we can do. Our core strategy is going to involve getting creatures to the board face down and then flipping them up for big effects. And the first big effect I'm going to be looking at is getting big damage out there. Experiment 12 says whenever one of our creatures are turned face up, we get to put a 1/1 counter on that creature equal to its power, meaning that certain big creatures like Crozen Cloudscraper can become a 26/26 under this. And yeah, I'm running Crozen Cloudscraper because I came from Yu-Gi-Oh! And the idea of having the big boss monster has been ingrained into me since birth, effectively, and 1313 is the biggest thing that my child brain deck was able to put together years ago. This is an old-ass Magic card. Here, let me show you. There we go. Now he's from Legions. This is the copy I had when I was a kid, and I threw it in an elf deck. Not because it was good, but because I wanted big number. He also makes us pay 2 mana to keep him on the board, but ideally you should only keep this guy on the board for like 2 turns maximum, because we're going to be punching somebody in the nostrils so hard that they spew blood like they're in One Piece and staring at literally any of the women there. I mean, you've seen Sanji, right? He has like a whole character arc where he can just rocket himself around reality with the blood coming out of his nose. Anyway, Print Lifter Ooze, a Death Touch creature that when it or another creature we control is turned face up, we can create an extra Ooze token with Trample with X 1/1 counters on it, where X is the number of creatures we control. Then we have the Sagu Malder, a Simic 6/6 Trample Hexproof creature with Morph. And yeah, I'm 100% running this because this is basically a morphed Simic Sky Swallower. Don't at me. Then we have Thieving Amalgam, which will allow us to take creatures from our opponent's libraries and put them face down on our board. But we're not done there. We need to make sure we've got some face-down utility to mess with as well, and Venifar Evolved Enigma is perfect in this role. At the beginning of combat of our turn, we can cloak a card from our hand, allowing us to immediately get a card out and not have to spend any mana on, well, basically cloaking it or morphing it. This also means creatures who don't normally have Cloak, Morph, or Disguise can now be put face down. And because Kadena Slinking Sorcerer is a trigger that is based on ETB, not based on a cast trigger, Kadena will see this as well. Then we have Zimone Mystery Unraveler, giving us landfall and the landfall ability to either morph creatures from our library, Manifest Dread, or we can instead take one of those creatures that we are ripping out from there and flip them up. Vesuvian Shapeshifter can become a copy of anything when it is flipped up. Valgavoth's Onslaught manifests Dread X times, where X is the amount of mana that we spend into it, which, of course, Manifest Dread is look at the top 2 cards of your library, put one of them face down onto the battlefield as a 2/2, as if it was morphed. Curator Beastie, colorless creatures we control enter with 2 additional 1/1 counters, and whenever it enters or attacks, we get to Manifest Dread over and over and over again. Primordial Mist, at the beginning of our end step, put Manifest Dread, the top card of our library, and, of course, we can exile a face-down permanent we control, and then play it if we want. This is important because sometimes you'll place cards face down that are spells that cannot be flipped up like creatures. Then we have Whisperwood Elemental. At the beginning of our end step, manifest the top card of our library, and we can sacrifice this to, flip up all of our creatures if we want. Not really, it's not what it does. What it does instead is says until end of the turn, any face-up non-token creatures we have, say when this card dies, manifest the top card of our library. So if we suffer a board wipe, or we're about to suffer a board wipe, just sacrifice the Whisperwood Elemental, and you'll get a fresh set of face-down cards. Ugin's Mastery. Whenever you cast a colorless creature, manifest the top card of your library. And whenever you attack a creature's total power 6 or greater, flip any of our face-downs face up for free. Cryptic Coat comes onto the battlefield, manifesting the top card of our library as well, and gives the creature 1/0 and the ability to not be blocked. Scroll of Fate lets us manifest cards from our hand. Hide in Plain Sight lets us manifest cards from 5 cards we select from the top of our library. Become Anonymous lets us exile a non-token creature we own and the top 2 cards of our library and put them in a face-down pile. And as if we were playing the Magical Hats card from Yu-Gi-Oh!, we are just shuffling those cards face down, and whatever happens, happens. Then we have Under the Skin, allowing us to manifest Dread and then also recur any permanent from our graveyard to our hand. God, I love everything in this deck so far. Then we have Giant's Amulet to protect our commander and a Misfire Weaver, which says that we can also protect our commander by flipping this face up, basically giving one of our creatures hexproof if need be. We also have a little more recursion in the deck. Den Protector says creatures with power less than Den Protector's power are not able to block it, and it's got Megamorph, so we can morph it down and then flip it up for 2, giving it an additional 1/1 counter, and whenever it's turn faced up, we can return any card from our graveyard to our hand. Then we have the Ice Feather Aven, a flying morph creature that says when it's turn faced up, we can return another creature to its owner's hand. So what you're going to be doing this for, what you're going to be recurring with this, is not necessarily cards in your graveyard. You are using this to re-flip cards that you otherwise had spent. Like, as an example, we have Karu Spell Snatcher in the deck, which allows us to steal spells from our opponent. This will allow us to throw the Spell Snatcher back to our hand and then recur its ability. It's a different kind of recursion, but trust me, it is still recursion all the same. But that does it for the core of the deck. We are going to be going face up, face down, attacking, and hoping our opponents don't defend. Let's talk about draw engines. Obviously, the big draw engine of the deck is Kadena the Slinking Sorcerer, letting us draw cards when we place cards face down, but we are also going to be running the Abomination of Goodle, a 3/4 creature that loots whenever it hits our opponents. The Oblivious Bookworm. At the beginning of our end step, we may draw a card. If we do, discard a card unless we have placed a card face down. Vohar Vidalian Desecrator to draw and discard cards or cast sorceries from our grave if need be. Merfolk Looter to draw and discard cards as well. Obsessive Stitcher to draw and discard cards. These all just let us dig through our deck and get rid of bad cards that we do not want to draw. Also, the Obsessive Stitcher can be used to reanimate a creature from our graveyard. Mystic Forge lets us look at the top card of our library at any point and cast artifact spells or colorless spells from the top of our library. Please understand that morphing a creature is casting a colorless spell. Secret Plans lets us draw a card anytime a permanent we control is turned face up, so the opposite of our commander, and they came from the pipes manifest Dread twice, and whenever a face-down creature we control enters, we get to draw a card. I like that this deck gets to have an interesting style of draw, flipping things around, but I do think it's important to supplement that with cards like Merfolk Looter. These just allow decks that are otherwise struggling to have better opening hands, because they just let you get rid of dud big cards or dud lands if you are getting too many lands. They're just great. Anyway, let's talk about removal, which is the most fleshed out part of this deck because this is a control deck. After all, what's a trap card without the ability to summon tools of the bandit and opponent's trap card themselves? Or, any other trap card in Yu-Gi-Oh! 7 Tools isn't used anymore. I guess not 7 Tools of the bandit, maybe Magic Jammer, maybe Torrential Tribute. I'm really showing my age here. Solemn Judgment, that one. Maybe any of those. I'm gonna quit while I'm ahead. In our removal and interaction suite, we are running a whopping 18 cards, not counting board wipe stuff. So let's get into these. Shaper Parasite, when it's flipped up, it gets to give a creature -2 toughness. Nantuko Vigilante, which flips up to blow up an artifact or an enchantment. Anox Survivalist, which when it's flipped up, blows up an artifact or enchantment. Skin Thinner, when it's flipped up, it blows up a non-black creature. Echo Tracer, when it's flipped up, bounce a creature to its owner's hand, which is another thing we can use to recur things as well, if you remember the conversation about Kara Spell Snatcher. Slumgar Spell Eater, when it's turned face up, counter a spell unless its opponent pays 3. Those words. I'm so bad at words right now. My OBS has crashed multiple times. I'm about to crash out. Anyway, we have Karu Spell Snatcher, like I said. Flip it up to steal a spell. Teamer War Shaman, when it enters, manifest the top card of your library. Whenever a permanent we control is turned face up, we can have that creature fight a creature we don't control. Putrefy, to blow up artifacts or creatures. Slumgar Assassin, whenever it's turned face up, blow up a creature with power 3 or less. Binding the Old Gods, to blow up any non-land permanent an opponent controls and then ramp afterwards. Will Bender, to counter any spell that hits a single target. Void Mage Apprentice, to counter any spell whatsoever. Chrome Shell Crab, to steal our opponent's favorite creatures. Kadena's Silencer, to counter all abilities our opponents control. This is a wacky one. Then we have the Stratus Dancer. When it's turned face up, counter an instant or sorcery spell. Death Sprout, to blow up any problematic creature and also ramp us. And the Silent Spectre, a creature with flying that says when it deals combat damage to a player, that player discards 2 cards from their hand, but it's got Morph, so we can use this to get rid of people's hands too. This is wacky, weird, fun stuff. I love this. Then, of course, for board wipes, we're going to be running Thousand Winds, to throw all tapped creatures to their owner's hands, and Bane of the Living. When it is turned face up, all creatures get -X until end of turn, which is however much mana we spend into the morph of this creature. I adore flipping things around as a mechanic, and I'm so happy we have so many of these effects in Magic now. Oh, this is going to be fun to playtest. This is going to be very fun to playtest. Let's talk about ramp. Now, our commander is a form of ramp effectively, but we're also going to be running Wayfarer's Bauble and Search for Tomorrow to get basic lands from the deck onto the battlefield. Steve, in order to get basic lands onto the battlefield, I'm glad his price keeps on going down. I like putting him in decks. Threats around every corner. We manifest Dread when this enters, and whenever a face-down permanent we control enters, we can search our library for a basic land and put it onto the battlefield. That's wacky as hell. Trail of Mystery lets us take basic lands, put them into our hand. Not quite ramp, but close enough. Flourishing Bloom it can disguise itself. It gets 1/1 for every forest we control, but when it's turned face up, search our library for 2 forests, reveal them, put 1 into the battlefield tapped, and the other into our hand. Overgrown Zealot, add a mana of any color or add 2 mana of any color to flip a permanent face up. Font of Fertility, it's just Wayfarer's Bauble but green, and Rampant Growth because I'm a basic bitch and I love this card. As for our lands, we are going to be running 4 forests, 3 islands, and 2 swamps, with our Dimir lands being Tainted Isle, River of Tears, Darkwater Catacombs, and Sunken Hollow as our untapped lands, with Temple of Deceit being our solitary tapped Dimir land. For our other types of lands, we have the Golgari ones, Necroblossom Snarl, Haunted Mire, Tainted Wood, and Viridescent Bog, and Temple of Malady. We have 2 tapped lands here, but Haunted Mire is a great exception because it is a forest, so it can be ripped up with cards that search forests. Then for Simic lands, we have the same thing. 2 tapped lands with Temple of Mystery and Tainted Isle, but every other land comes into play untapped with 1 small exception as well. Flooded Grove, Yavimaya Coast, Overflowing Basin, Vine Glimmer Snarl, and then we have a single Simic Growth Chamber, which we will use to reuse utility lands like Pit of Offerings. We also have the Zoetic Cavern and Branch of Vitu-Ghazi as utility lands we can use to morph lands, because morphing lands is great and also a form of ramp. Then we have Alchemist's Refuge, which can let us cast spells as though they have flash, letting us morph on our opponent's turn effectively for 2 mana. Let's also run some Omni lands, Command Tower, Exotic Orchard, and then we'll throw in an Opulent Palace for fun. I like the artwork on it, and that's a good enough reason to run it over Path of Ancestry. Path is better, though. Fetching lands, we're going to be running Evolving Wilds, Terramorphic Expanse, and really that's it for the basic fetches. We're going to be running a Foreboding Landscape that can be a fetch land or a regular land, or we can run a bad Foreboding Landscape, which is Shire Terrace or Promising Vein, and if we want to ramp, we can run a Myriad Landscape, or if we're okay land cycling for our colors, we can run the Ash Barrens. But basically every single land in this deck, sans like 5, are great. And the only ones that are not great are still okay, based on what we're trying to accomplish. So I'm okay with everything here. Let's talk about how to actually play this thing. That's the part I'm excited about. No matter what opening hand you have, I would try to have at least one ramp spell so that the commander can come down kind of early. This hand has 6 lands, and I'm not super happy about that, but I'm willing to risk it for the biscuit. Let's play a forest, tap it, and let's go ahead and throw this Search for Tomorrow into the suspend zone. Then we go to turn 2. We have an Ice Feather Aven. That's fine. We're going to go ahead and play an Opulent Palace as our tap land, and then pass to our opponents. Next turn is going to come up. The Search for Tomorrow is going to go into our library, grab ourselves a swamp, and yeet it onto the battlefield instantaneously. Then we are going to get our draw for the turn, and we'll be able to play an Overflowing Basin. From this, we'll be able to tap 4, get our commander out onto the board, and we'll be able to throw a creature card face down. I think Flourishing Bloomkin is probably the one right now, for personal reasons. We pass to our opponents. They're going to do whatever they want to do. We will move on to turn 4, and we are going to play Foreboding Landscape. No. We're going to play Yavimaya Coast, and we are going to tap 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we are going to flip this over. We're going to flip this over, and it's going to get 2 forests and reveal them, put one into the battlefield tapped and the other into our hand. So, of course, we're going to get a tapped land out, Haunted Mire, and then we are going to put a forest into our hand. Our commander is also going to allow us to cloak a new card face down. Let's go ahead and move this card to the battlefield flipped. There we go. We have the Chrome Shell Crab out, which draws us an additional card. I've chosen the crab because at this point of the game, everybody has established a board state, at least a basic one. We're going to use the crab to steal the commander from the scariest creature an opponent has, usually their commander, and then we are going to use that to give us leverage later in the game. So we move on to turn 5. Let's go ahead and play an island as our land for turn, and we've got 5 mana. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have 5 mana available for this. How much does it cost to morph this thing? This lets us counter all abilities. This would be the thing we have to morph. Turn face up, return a creature. How do I want to do this? It's return another creature to its owner's hands. Okay, I know what I want to do. We are going to play the Ice Feather Aven down, which draws us a card. We don't need the Shaper Parasite right now. We are going to pay 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we are going to flip up the Chrome Shell Crab, giving it to our opponent, stealing a commander from them. Unfortunate for them, but pretty great for us. So, looking at our board state right now, we don't have the mana to morph anything, so we're just going to have to sit on this. But trust me, it's for a good cause. We move into the next turn. We have an Evolving Wilds. Let's play a forest, and we are going to spend 1, 2, 3, and we are going to go ahead and flip up. Let's flip you up. How do I flip you up? Turn over. Flip up the Ice Feather Aven, allowing us to put Chrome Shell Crab from our opponent's board back to our hand. Then we are going to flip him down with our commander, drawing a card, and then we are going to flip him up again, stealing a commander from our opponents. 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep, stealing another commander from our opponents. You can have the Chrome Shell Crab. I'm in a perfectly good spot. I have the commanders of the 2 scariest people on the board, and it's turn 6. Their decks, usually, depending on what they are probably not functioning right now. We are just in a great state. We have a Tangled Islet as our next card. Let's go ahead and drop that onto the board. And let's see here. The Slumgar Spell Eater can be used to protect our board state. That's probably the thing that we use next. But Primordial Mists can give us some pretty interesting plays. So let's go ahead and move the Spell Eater down so that we can draw a card. That gives us Venifar. Ooh, I'm okay with this. Let's pay 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep, 5 mana. Because this Megamorphs for 5. That's not fantastic. Maybe it's not him we do. Maybe it's the assassin. We're just gonna change out those cards. Not a legal play, but it's better to do it this way. Then we're going to play the Primordial Mists, and at the beginning of our end step, we can manifest the top card of our library right here. And boom. Okay. So, and then you may play the card this turn. You still pick off. Time your rules apply. Okay, we can't use this Temple of Malady yet, but we have it as a face-down creature that our opponents don't know about. And then if our opponents play a spooky creature, we're going to tap 3, and we are going to flip up this guy right here. Also, because we manifested a card, we get to draw a card. What am I doing? We get to flip up this guy, blowing up a creature. That puts us in a happy spot. We move to our next turn. Sage Mauler, or Sagu Mauler. I want that. Let's pay 1/2. Let's play Secret Plans. And then let's pay 1, 2... No, let's not pay any mana. Why am I doing that? Let's go ahead and move you to the battlefield flipped in order to draw a card. Ooh, they came from the pipes! 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm willing to just shit that out. Boom! Came from the pipes, and we get to manifest Dread twice. So let's see here. Of these, what do I want? I want the card that blows up an artifact or an enchantment, so let's put that there. And that gets rid of the Merfolk Looter, and let's manifest Dread here. Font of Fertility and the Zoadic Cavern. I want the Zoadic Cavern. And then I want to be able to play a card. Do I have anything that can flip that matters right now? I can pay 3 to morph something as well, but I don't have the... I do have the mana. Let's use... Oh, sorry. We draw 1, 2, 3, 4 because of that. I guess we can play Flooded Groves. Yeah, we're in a good spot. Flooded Groves. And then we can morph again. So we'll just tap 1, 2, 3. Fuck it. Let's go ahead and morph this Vesuvian Shapeshifter down. Right? Let's flip him over. Let's just have all of these little trap cards for our opponents. We draw 2 cards from that. Our hand is getting kind of thick, though, you know? Let's discard down. And, yeah, we're in an okay spot right now. Holy shit. Secret Plans to draw us cards. They came from the pipes to draw us cards. We end our turn manifesting this Oblivious Bookworm, drawing us 2 cards, making us discard even more. Jesus Christ. Let's discard the Abomination, and let's discard the... It's late in the game, so the Spell Eater is not doing as much work right now. So that's what we'll have to do. Jesus Christ. We get to flip so many of these things around. We draw, it's Terramorphic Expanse, and let's... I want the Chrome Shell Crab back, actually. That's what I want to do. I want to morph this face down. That'll work. It's not the right turned over, but... Yeah, rotate, turn over, there. I want to flip that face down to draw 2 cards. And then... I want to flip it up. Let's flip it up, paying 1, 2, 3... I want to get back the Chrome Shell Crab. I want to pay 1, 2, 3. I want to put the Chrome Shell Crab down, drawing 2 cards. I want to play the Command Tower for turn, and then I want to tap 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I want to flip up the Chrome Shell Crab again, and I want to steal the commander of the 3rd player on the table. I want everybody's commander. I don't even care if I win at this point. I just want your commanders. Give me your commanders. That's all I'm here to do. That's all I'm here to do, is to just take your commanders from you. We'll spend all of our mana on your... We have so many cards. Jesus Christ. And so many of these are face down, too. We've got the... Oblivious Bookworm. At the beginning of our end step, we can draw a card. Yay, Zoetic Cavern. We could pay 3 and put this onto the battlefield, and suddenly we would have more lands. The Survivalist to blow up a artifact or enchantment if we need to. The Vesuvian Shapeshifter, I think for this, we would... What would we turn this into a copy of? I guess we would turn it into a copy of the Sagu Mauler? Like, when we go to the next turn, I know I didn't discard cards, but bear with me. We would flip this up, and then we would flip this up as a copy of the Mauler. I think that's what we would do, right? We would have 2 6/6 Tramplers. And then we can just kind of punch over and over again. Like, you take 12, take 12, take 12. Like, that wins a game, right? So So, if you are wanting to upgrade this deck, the strongest thing you could throw in is the Abhorrent Oculus, allowing you to manifest Dread at the beginning of every opponent's upkeep, giving you effectively another draw every turn with Kadena. This thing is nutty. I would also add in Kozilek the Broken Reality. Now all of your unflipped up creatures get 3/2, and you can just manifest this in the deck too. Skittering Cicada allows you to draw a card every opponent's turn because you can play colorless spells so they had flash. Morphing is a colorless spell, and I've chosen this over things like Leyline of Anticipation because it is a creature we can use in the deck, and most importantly, it is a win con in and of itself. The fact that it gets +X based on the mana value of whatever you are throwing out, so you can just make this a 5/5, then an 8/8, then an 11/11, as you are ripping colorless spells off the top of your library. This is gonna do lots and lots of work. Heroic Intervention can protect our board state as it gets nice, big, and chunky. Etrata the Deadly Fugitive gives us the ability to unmorph creatures for much lower amounts, and it allows us to unmorph cards that are not creatures in case we need to. Ghastly Conscription is a Rise of the Dark Realms for a single person's graveyard that manifests those cards on our board, so we get to do fun things with those. Then we have the Experiment Lab and Staff Room to force flip up things if they punch our opponents. Eudora Grave Gardener, whenever we get a non-token creature and it dies, we can flip it onto the battlefield face down as a forest, which will of course draw a card with our commander, and is just a funny thing to do with things like, say, Zimone. Then we have Gift of Doom, Enchanted creature has Death Touch and Indestructible, and we can morph it up by sacking a creature. Just have this card available, sack one of your bad morph creatures, and suddenly your commander has Indestructible. A great way to protect the commander I wish I could have added into this deck, but I will be able to add it into something later. And that something is gonna be, well, this is an announcement. Hey, so I've done something that I think you are gonna like. There's a video I made ages ago about combining the energy precons together to make a complete deck, and somehow it got 10,000 views. I didn't even notice that. I don't know when that even happened. I thought this deck video got like 1,000 views, and then it just kind of went into the wayside, but I guess that's what evergreen content does. So, here's the cool thing about this particular premise. All you have to do to have this premise for a video is have enough precons that have been made that you can jam together. And there's some cool stuff that I want to show you in response to this. You can find Kadena's precon for like $25 on eBay still. $30 and $35 at the max. People are selling this. There's even a seller here that has tons of these that he's just trying to get rid of. So what I've done is I have bought not only the Kadena precon, but I have bought the Deadly Disguise precon and the Jump Scare precon as well, all off of eBay. Now, granted, I don't have a ton of money, so I specifically went with a seller who was selling the Disguise precon and the Jump Scare precon for $15. The way that they're getting away with that is they effectively removed the money cards from these precons and replaced them with cheaper cards, and then they sold the rest of the deck basically at bulk prices for $15. Now, I've decided that this is potentially a really cool strategy. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get these 3 decks in after I'm done going to Florida for the protest, and I'm gonna combine these 3 decks into one souped up deck. So, not only am I doing the normal upgrade section in this video, but there's going to be a follow-up video on how to combine just the 3 precons into one super flipping up and down deck. And I hope you guys will join me for that video when I make it. That all said, as much as I'm excited for that, I do need to ring the tip jar just a little bit. If you have not already checked me out on Blue Sky, please consider doing so. Also, if you haven't subscribed to this channel, hit the bell notification icon. Please do that. Support me on Patreon or pick up a channel playmat. I would greatly appreciate it. I have a channel where I talk about things that are important to me, and of course, I stream Mondays through Thursdays. Check all that out if you want to. All the links for that are in the description. But with all that said, I have to hop off because it's time for me to get ready for one of those aforementioned live streams. Insert end of video tagline here, everybody. Hey, thanks for making it to the end of the video. I really could not do any of this without all of you. Those of you watching, and especially those of you who support me on Patreon. I wanted to go ahead and take a minute to thank all of you who do that, because with YouTube being what it is these days, I really cannot do this full-time without the support from each and every one of you. Those people would be Red Joker, Purple Poundini, Jemshin, Britzkrieg, Jupe the Malignant, Michael, Ravalern, Mabbity Babbity, Astral Frontier, Tales of Atonement, Nixie Chan, Kiri Artemis, Victorian Alchemist, I'm not saying the last part of that, and you know that, Leela Ururaka, Arcton Arclacier, Kiratorian, Dren Hadamata, Jordan M, John L, Lord Bleck, Smiling Game Master, and Fireshard. Thank you so very much. But since you're here, why not go ahead and try watching another one? There should be one that's on the screen right now. And if you are a patron of mine, I wanted to go ahead and thank you again for all of your support. There is still a video you could press, though, if you'd like. I would appreciate it just a little bit.